Welcome to Awards Bait, the official Galaxy of Film award show podcast, where we ask ourselves, what's getting nominated this year? Joining me every other Tuesday is a roster of guest stars to help me answer that very question. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the premiere episode for Season 2 of Awards Bait. This is very exciting. It's a big day. And I am not alone. I am with an old friend, my Thompson brother, Mr. Ron Visiglia. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good, Keith. I'm doing very good.
Oh, yeah, Keith and Fred Thompson.
I'm happy to be here. We love seeing movies, and this is the perfect opportunity to talk about the best ones of the year. As the year winds down, we get to reflect on the movies we've seen throughout the year so far and what's coming up. Yeah. And it'll be a lovely time.
Yeah. And now with this being the premiere, Awards Bait Season 2, this episode is going to be a little more kind of laid back, a little more chill, because Ronnie and I, we don't really have as much of a finger on the pulse, let's say, of the awards race so far. As everybody knows, we kind of, October, we're currently in October now, so this is kind of the time where you're going to start to see those movies kind of come out. And, that's an exciting time for us because, Ron and I are big movie fans, and I think I'll speak for you, but definitely for me, Oscar season is my favorite. And I think, throughout the, it's fun to see, the big movies in the summer, but for me, I love the kind of crispy air in the fall. You get to go, you go to your independent theater and you go see a nice independent film. That's the best time.
So
There's no better,
Venom.
Venom, yeah, Venom, The Last Dance. We'll talk about awards chances for Venom, The Last Dance in a couple minutes. No, absolutely not. But Ronnie, we've already kind of gotten off to the races with this show kind of starting after September. We've seen a couple of quote-unquote awardsy films, so we'll talk a little bit about those. But so far, are there any films that are on your radar as far as what you've already seen that you think could go all the way to next February at the Oscar season that you've already seen? So stuff. We'll both kick it off here. I think you and I are both in agreement that Dune Part 2 is probably going to be probably this year's Oppenheimer, in the sense that it's probably going to sweep all the technical awards, Yeah. We'll see if it goes all the way to Best Picture, but
I hope it does, because there's really nothing else that comes close, really. I'm trying to even think throughout the year. I'm looking at movies this year that I saw, trying to just think of anything that would have been even close to it. I know Sing Sing is a movie that you and I are both looking forward to seeing. That's been out even since last year.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know if it would get nominated for Oscars, considering that.
Well, so that movie has the buzz. It's like Coleman Domingo is a kind of a shoo-in for a Best Actor nom, it seems like.
But so it would be able to get 2024. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because it premiered
it's just
at
annoying that it's
year.
been out, and it's just when are we gonna I want to see this movie. When are we gonna be able to see it? And it's just we're never gonna show you this movie.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And it had around us, we live kind of close to New York, so I know Lincoln Square got this film for a couple of weeks, but then that was it. And then it was in July, and it's now here we are in October. Usually these things kind of get a limited run in the Lincoln Squares of the world, and kind of the four independent it hits the big theaters first. When it the four locations across the country, kind of builds up some hype, and then it goes all the way. This one just didn't do that, so it's weird to see, because
I know
Sing Sing is weird. Yeah, it's one that we've both talked about, and it's on our radar.
These great reviews about it, and I'm I'd love to see it. But,
yep, maybe one day.
Trying to think. Challengers is really good, but that's not probably gonna win anything. It might maybe gets nominated for something, but I don't know what. Maybe sound design.
I was gonna say, I think score was pretty interesting there, and I really did like what they were doing with sound in that one, where it's the arguments are a tennis match essentially.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you there. Like potentially a sound nom, but again, yeah, that's probably it. Um,
I see a
even
lot
though,
of these being like more for not the Oscars but the Golden Globes. Like I can see some of these sneaking
mm,
in.
I
Obviously,
agree.
because I'm not trying to downplay the Golden Globes, but it's less. It's seen as less prestigious. It's like the second brother. It's like the second to the Oscars. But like I can see I could see challengers being something for the Golden Globes, or maybe even like uh maybe Civil War. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I
Maybe
forgot
like
about
maybe
Civil
like
War.
a different man. Like I could
Yeah.
see that. But like for an Oscar, I don't know if that would really catch any like traction like Dune. And then I get scared about Dune also because Dune's like a part two movie. It's like a super
Mm,
sci-fi movie. I don't know if it's gonna really get the sort of ease that Oppenheimer did because it's a historical American fiction, not American fiction, American history.
yeah.
Is very well made. It was like very clearly the runaway winner that no one else
Mm,
is gonna catch.
yeah.
But Dune's kind of working against the grain. It feels like to win Best Picture. Um, again, like the substance might be like
Yeah.
something at the. I don't think it'd win anything, but
I
like
don't
if there was
I
like a
Yeah, I agree with you. I think so far from what I've seen, I think really the only true lock is Dune Part 2 because like we were saying, like Dune Part 2 is kind of above and beyond like the best movie of the year.
yeah
I do think there's a world where Civil War makes a comeback around the election time. And if
yeah
that were
that's
to
true
happen, potentially that gets some wind at its back and then it's able to go all the way to the Oscars. I don't think that's going to happen just because A24 has so many movies that they're going to want to push for the
yeah
Oscars. You have A Different Man, like we just mentioned. You have the We Live in Time with Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. We
yeah
have
which
that.
I'm
We
looking
have
forward to seeing.
same. They have a bunch of stuff. I can't remember. There's even more that I'm not even thinking of right now. But there's a ton of A24 films. Oh, Sing Sing. I think that's A24, right?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
So they've got a lot on their plate this go around.
That's
But
why we love A24.
we sure do. But I think of what we've seen, I think Dune. I agree with you that like Dune kind of has a little bit of an uphill battle just because it came out so early. So like you said, it's a part two. I think because Dune one did so extremely well at the Oscars when it came out. I do
Hmm.
think part two is just like clearly better in every
Yeah,
single way.
it
That it
is.
just
Yeah.
kind of has to. I feel like it has to win all of the awards that Dune won. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think the only competition was Furiosa, and Furiosa's kind of, all of those
Yeah.
tires have been
I
slashed,
mean,
unfortunately.
yeah. I mean, it's Furiosa was like a. I mean, we got no money in the box office,
Yeah,
obviously,
I
but
enjoyed it, but
it
it's
was very
not.
much like that's like a movie, and like Dune 2 is like a piece of art almost
I
in a way.
agree.
So
Yeah, I think.
it's almost like it really shouldn't win anything above over Dune. I mean, they're
Yeah.
both like desert sand
Hmm.
movies, obviously completely different sort of tones that they're going for.
Yeah.
But I mean, Furiosa was fun, but I don't think it's gonna really win anything.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with you. And then, but hey, look, Poor Things did really well. Do you think Kinds of Kindness can do anything?
I was thinking that again. I think that's like a Golden Globes thing too.
I
I
agree.
think the sort of like structure of it being like three different stories kind of sets it off as like non-traditional for awards.
Yeah.
I think I, I mean, I'm not sure what awards off the top of my head it could win besides like just generically Best Picture.
Yeah.
Um,
Clemens
but
was good.
the creative use of all the like five or six actors all playing different roles every single story was unique and interesting.
Yeah.
It does go much back to Yorgos's like style before Poor Things, which is like kind of weird and just characters doing things that logically are kind of odd and off, but you just kind of roll with it because that's how the story's going.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see that winning like best comedy slash what's the other thing for Golden Globes? That's like
Comedy or musical
yeah, I can see
for
that
that
winning that.
category. Yeah. I
Yeah,
could see it. I could see. I mean, unless Wicked really kind of does well, like I could see that winning that for the Golden Globe
it's a part
potentially.
one, which I
It
just
is. It
learned.
is. It's a part one, which Ronnie just learned
Jake, what
before.
minutes before starting this, I was looking at it and I'm like, oh my god, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And Jake's like, wait, it's a part one. I'm like, what?
Yep.
And
Part one.
it's so. Is the Godfather now?
Yeah, it's just so long for no reason.
Ariana Grande's Botox face.
Whoa. Premiere
No,
episode, he's
no,
dropping
no.
fucking heat. I
Which
love it.
is, I'm just like, I saw, the theaters around us are AMC, and they're starting to do this thing where they're like, no talking, and it's clips from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
from
yeah.
Wicked, and I'm like, I'm already over this movie,
I know.
and to see that it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's a part one, I'm like, I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, we have a new Barbenheimer on our hand, and we're talking about this year talking with Wicked. The same day we have our new Oppenheimer, which is Gladiator 2. Do you think that
Uh,
can potentially do anything at the Oscars?
I hope so. I mean, I
Yeah.
know I haven't seen. I have to watch the first Gladiator. I've seen some of it like on TV, and it looked really cool and good.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping he can kind of capture that in the second one. Although Napoleon,
Mm-mm.
made people nervous, but doesn't Ridley Scott have what's it called? Reputation of doing this, where he makes like a good movie and then like a mediocre movie.
Yeah, like kind of one on, one off. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I think so.
or a mix like that.
It's kind of been like that, but the one on has been like an underseen gem, and like nobody really talks about it. Like The Last Duel, or like or so
Yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I really hope this one is able to hit the mark. I think it will be a good film. I don't know
yeah.
if
It's
it's
gonna
gonna do enough for the Oscars. I hope so because
Because if it's good, it would be like the rival to Dune. I could see that very easily.
yes,
If it
I
is,
could
because
too.
the way the trailers look up, the way the trailers are looking, it's kind of mounting it as this like giant epic, which is
Yeah,
supposed to be. But if it can deliver on that front, then it's like, okay, now there's an actual
contender
competition
here.
for
Yeah,
Dune Part
yeah,
Two,
I
as
agree with
opposed
you.
to just like no one else. Um,
I think the other like the big heavy hitters are like I think Dune and Gladiator and potentially Wicked if it's incredible are like your kind of big movies that are going to be nominated.
hmm
But when it comes to like actual like other films that are potentially winning, you have like Anora, you have Conclave, you have Blitz, you have we'll talk about it a bit more, but you have like Saturday Night. You have
hmm
potentially. I think if the what's the one that you were just talking about, the long one, the oh my gosh, it came out of nowhere, The Brutalist.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
movie
yeah.
came out of nowhere, so that had a festival run, and then like it was like, oh, it's 3.5 hours, and it's got these actors, and it's incredible. Like
hmm Yeah.
that's what you want to see. You know what I mean? It's like, oh hey, like, this is a contender all of a sudden. Like
Yeah,
that
that could be. I forgot about that because we haven't
there's
seen it because it's one
no,
of these movies that came out and it's like I want to go see it. It's not playing anywhere.
not yet.
But no, that actually could be a contender. I forgot about that, and that kind of fits more in line with the traditional winner, where it's like it's like post World War II, I think, like American
Yeah,
sort of
like an
historical.
epic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't know if it's nonfiction or fiction, but
We'll
um,
see. But
I
yeah, I
know
mean,
I want to see it.
and I do see a reality where like because the competition is so thin, like not that it's thin, but like that we just haven't seen it all yet. Like I feel like
hmm
we're gonna get to a point where it's like a new challenger has arrived, and it's like a big new movie that like we haven't heard of
hmm
starts to take shape. Because I feel like this time last year we sort of had our you know
We had
couple
everything.
we had a bunch
Yeah.
of locks already. And we kind of already
hmm
knew where we were headed.
Yeah.
So far, I only really feel comfortable putting Dune Part Two in Best Picture. That's the
Yeah.
only movie so far that I feel like that's probably going to get in. And Anora, I think Anora probably because I've just been hearing so many fantastic things about that one that I
Yeah.
really feel like it's probably just it's Sean Baker's time. Like he's one of these guys that like he makes great films.
mhm.
He's put in the work, he's put in the effort, and now he's about to be rewarded for it with Anora. And it seems like that one is really speaking to people, despite how it's probably super graphic and a lot of nakedness going on in that, I
Yeah,
imagine.
I was mixing up Nora actually with another movie
Oh,
that someone told me watch. It was like a foreign movie that's
oh yeah.
probably gonna win. I forgot what it's called, but it's probably gonna win best foreign picture.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at it really quick, but Anora should probably win because I mean not win, but it should be up there contending
Yeah.
against Dune. It just again it depends on how good it is because Dune was such like a powerhouse of a movie,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be really tough. Like Anora could be really good, but it just depends on if it could stand toe to toe um with Doom Part Two.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look really quick.
I do think
Um,
like I think also like the animated category, like that one is kind of taking shape. I feel more comfortable about like the animated category than I do about Best Picture at this point. Like it's interesting.
yeah, I mean, I think isn't the clear winner a Runaway? What's it called? The Wild Robot.
I think probably Wild Robot, but like you know, like Inside Out 2, which was also great. You know what I mean? Like it's you have Inside Out 2 this
Yeah,
year. You have the Wild Robot, which I think Wild Robot is like such a like Spider-Verse Puss in Boots level
yeah.
success that I feel like all right, it's probably going to go to that just because it's so innovative and like
Hmm.
new. I think
Yeah.
that's the key word there is that it's new. Um, I
The
think you
movie
know
I was thinking of was Dee Dee.
yes, I heard that was great. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dee
I
I heard that was good. I have not seen that,
yeah
but that has been released. Like that's out,
yeah
so
yeah yeah yeah.
that's like available for us. But
Hmm.
yeah. But I don't know, man. It's kind of wide open, and you know that's part of the fun of the show is like discovering it as we go through the season. So I'm excited to see everything take shape. I'm excited to learn more as we get into the awards race. But let's talk about some movies that we've seen that are kind of like awardsy films.
Hmm.
And let's talk about why maybe they aren't anymore. You know what I mean? So let's get into it here. You and I heard a lot about the substance. I
Hmm.
remember I just kind of hit you up one day and said, "Hey, let's go see this wild movie, The Substance." And we just kind of went on a random Monday or something.
Yeah.
Went to go see it, and oh boy, is it great! But you know, same thing here. It's fantastic. It's body horror, not for the sake of body horror. It's actually I've been talking to a lot of people at work about this, and the conversation of Terrifier has been coming up because
Mm.
Terrifier 3 just came out, and like it's a big box office success. Everybody's excited about it. I personally don't know if I can watch that because it just seems gratuitously disgusting. So I don't know if I can do it. But then everybody's like, "Well, Jake, you saw The Substance," and I'm like, "Yeah, but The Substance was like about something, and like it was more than just nastiness. It was like it's
Yeah.
nastiness with a purpose and with a point. I feel like Terrifier is just like disgusting
For
nonsense
the
for
sake of yeah.
yeah, just to see how far it can go. And I'm like, I will give those films a shot. I do think like there's value in Terrifier, and I do want to check it out. And here on Galaxy of Film, they've interacted with Art the Clown, the actor. Like it's a big kind of thing here in our Galaxy of Film community. Um, Check out that interview if that's coming out at some point. But really awesome stuff going on there. But I don't know, it's just something that I can't get behind, and I want to give it a shot, but I just can't. But the substance is something different. It kind of elevates everything, and
Hmm.
I felt like it was if I were giving Oscar nominations, the substance is something that I would nominate me
Hmm.
personally. But I know it's not going to get up there. But what did you think of the substance?
Again, you messaged me. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and it was a very good time. Like the whole like sort of plot structure of what she's doing. I don't want to, ruin it too much or
Yeah,
spoil it, but the whole point of like the substance and what it does and the sort of consequences and the maintaining of using the substance is like that was almost like a almost like an old epic
yeah,
or like kind of it's like a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde where it's like
yeah,
you have these sort of two bodies, and I thought that was super interesting, and it played on the commentary of like how women view their bodies and society and how you're kind of almost selling your body and the reflection of like the past and how what if the past can also be the present again and the taboo behind the consequence of that.
yeah,
It was really good. I think by the end though it got like kind of wacky with it, which
yeah,
is kind of, I mean, it was fine because it was building up to that, but it was very well made. Like there were some shots where it's just like just a pose of certain things, and it's just like, oh my god, like this is the shot that's going right after this. It's just like it was a really good movie, very good
yeah.
time.
I really enjoyed it. I want to save one of these for the end because I think that one we're gonna have a lot of fun discussing. Let's talk about. So I have four movies here. Let's next up. I want to talk about A Different Man because we also just recently saw that.
Yeah.
Um, and I love this one too. Like this one was
Hmm.
again, I think it's too indie. I think it's too quiet to really make any noise. I do think if this film had a different approach to it, it would have been one of these, you know, best picture nominees. But I applaud it because it doesn't go that route. So like
Yeah.
with A Different Man, if for those of you that don't know, Sebastian Stan plays a guy who in the beginning I did do some research. It is a prosthetic mask that he wears in the
Hmm.
beginning of the film, and then he undergoes a surgery and he becomes, Sebastian Stan. He's quote unquote normal looking, and and then halfway through the film he meets this girl, and I don't want to ruin it too much, but he a role is written for him in a play, and it's written with the disfigurement in mind. So Sebastian Stan auditions for the play, ends up wearing like this mask that he got before his procedure, of his original face, and then turns it on its head. A man, but I believe his name is Adam Pearson in real life. This guy, I think, is what in the movie. What is his name? I think it's like Oswald, right, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something
I
like
think
that,
so.
right? So this guy shows up who actually is um, has like this sort of disfigurement in real life,
Hmm.
and he shows up and he's sort of like, don't mind me, like I just want to watch you perform in this play, and then things sort of go from there,
Hmm.
where this guy kind of just you know makes a real mess of Sebastian Stan's plans here, and I loved this movie because it didn't go the route of oh, feel bad for me. This is a drama. This is sad. Everybody's picking on him and bullying him and all this shit. I really liked that this one kind of fun. Like we were laughing the whole movie. It's a funny
Hmm.
movie, and it's like it's sometimes it's darkly comedic, sure, um, but you feel bad for. There's a certain angle that you kind of it plays on your heartstrings like a little bit because you see this man Oswald get treated like a regular person, and that's very nice to see, but it really makes you reflect on Sebastian Stan earlier on, and it's like if you just had the confidence that this guy had, you would have been accepted and it would have been fine. But
Hmm.
ultimately, he sort of just lives this lie, and it's like it's funny because it's like, oh, now he's just like this, he's Sebastian Stan, like he's handsome, whatever, but like he's living a lie because like he's jealous that Oswald gets to kind of live in a way where he's like, nobody's really, and you see Sebastian Stan throughout all of his scenes being like, all right, when are they going to start making fun of him? And then they never do. And it's like it's pretty amazing to see because like it doesn't make you like pity him or anything like that. And I thought that was very nice. It was a breath of fresh air, but I could see how like if they went that route of being like, oh, Oswald, and it's so sad. It's like then it maybe would have been like, all right, let's give it its flowers, and I appreciate them not doing that. So that was
Yeah.
great. But how did you feel about A Different Man?
It was good. It had almost like a New York City. I mean, it's based in New York City, but it had almost like a New York City play type feel in the first place, where you have like this
Yeah,
closed off sort of segment where it's like a shot of just his apartment or like the corner of his apartment or of just the playroom. So
yeah,
I think that kind of built into like the small kind of indie feel,
yeah,
which
yeah.
worked for the movie. Um, I like the idea of like you mentioned, like he didn't have the confidence when he had the disfigurement, and then
Yeah.
someone else has it, and he's perfectly fine in his own skin. He's very like free and open. And I did like that even when Sebastian Stan kind of became he lost his disfigurement, had the surgery, he was
Hmm.
still kind of like reserved in a way and was more still kind of closed off because it's still kind of like even it would be too jarring to have him fully like now become like this big charismatic guy. Like he's still kind of like quiet and like reserved, and he's like uncomfortable about his past. Like he actually hides that in the movie, and that's like a key point that he's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be seen as who I used to be. I want this idea and move on with my life. But then, like I said, or like you mentioned, like he now has to deal with someone who is living this life that he used to live and is fully comfortable in that skin.
Oh yeah.
And he gets, the movie leads from there where he gets very conflicted about that, and things the plot of the movie happens from that. Um, it was a good time. I went in not even knowing that that guy
Yeah, yeah,
was an actual like disfigurement. Like I didn't know he was a real person.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
went in being like, oh, it's gonna be Sebastian Stan, and he loses his disfigurement, and then there's another guy with it, and I thought the other guy was just like another actor. I didn't know that this guy actually is
Oh
looking like
yeah,
that in real life.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, like the perfect like role for and the perfect kind of movie for something like that, where it's like you actually have a real person who has this disfigurement,
mm-hmm.
being able to play a character in it, and it's the characters like Jake was mentioning, they're so like fun and whimsical and free and not
Yeah,
like, and it's not like Jake said where it's not sad, where it's like, oh, pity him. Like he's like very open about being like, oh yeah, no, like you're clearly the attractive one in this play. Like don't worry about me. Like let's not kid ourselves.
yeah, yeah,
So it's like the realism of just understanding that you know that he is in this role and he kind of fit perfect for it. I really liked it. It was a good movie.
yeah.
I got unfortunately I don't think it's gonna
No.
really get anywhere. Maybe like cosmetics or like
Oh, like
wardrobe because you have
costume design
Oswald.
stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
makeup. It
because like
could get makeup. The
yeah,
the
because
Sebastian Stan mask is pretty great.
yeah, yeah.
You never know.
So no,
We'll see.
it was a good time. Yeah, good movie.
Next up, um, let's talk about Saturday Night. This is our most recent
Hmm.
watch here. I've been reading a lot of hate on this. Like I've been like online. I've been looking at
Oh,
into it, and I'm like, man, I don't know if they saw what we saw because like we really liked it and it was fun, and I
oh
really
yeah.
it's just such a like craziness kind of movie. There was one point that I saw that I do agree with, but I don't think it's a as big of a detriment as it was for the reviewer that I was listening to. It was I believe it was on a podcast that I was listening to this, but someone said this feels like the last episode of a mini series about the making of Saturday Night Live. And I
Mm.
don't disagree because it
Hmm.
does sort of just throw you into it. Um, and do I think this could have been like an epic, like 3 hour movie? Yeah, I think it could have been. And I think it would have been great. And I think like this movie, as like the last, like, half would have been tremendous. Like that would have maybe like if we had like a proper setup of like this is what we're doing, this is what we're we're trying to attack, like this is what we've got in mind. Maybe it would have been like some epic. I think we there is a world where that movie
Yeah.
exists and it's probably better, but I still really liked this approach, the real time kind of 90 minutes before the taping. I thought it was
Hmm.
fantastic. You liked it more than me, I think. So
Yeah,
talk a
I
little
I
bit about your
loved
thoughts.
I just loved like the chaos of the whole storytelling, and just it was just like you mentioned things that I actually liked it kind of exactly how it was.
Yeah.
I think I can completely see like a 3 hour movie where you get the setup of, you get, because obviously, it's the first day of they're shooting Saturday Night Live, and the whole backstory is that they're only allowing this to go on because there's like contract disputes with at the
Mm-hmm.
time like the Tonight Show with Johnny Cochran or Johnny Carson,
John
I think,
Carson.
and
Yeah.
they're like the only reason we're showing this is because we're having these issues with him. It could have been like the first hour of you see Laura Michael have this idea, he's scrapping together all these comedians, and then you also get the side plot of the contract dispute between like
Mm-hmm.
who's Peacock, NBC.
Yes. It's
It'd be like
Universal. Yeah. NBC.
yeah, it would be like them and Johnny Carson. You get like that
Mm-hmm.
whole kind of plot going together, and then you kind of build up into like, okay, we're gonna let you do this one show and see how it goes. I could see that, but I just loved just being thrown into just absolute chaos and just being like, all right, we're just along for the ride. There's so much like, and I could see how it almost becomes unrealistic where it's like, all right, all these things
I
obviously
know.
didn't happen
Yeah.
90 minutes before Saturday Night Live started, but just it perfectly encapsulated like the tension and feeling and anxiety of what must have been going on.
Oh yeah.
Like that's all I needed to do. And it was so entertaining and fun. Like there's so many different characters, so many different things going on. And I just love the guy who plays Lauren Michaels, who was the kid in the Fablemans.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good in this. And you just see him just go through this entire movie with like 100 different problems just being thrown at him like every minute. It's just like a new problem, something he has to deal with. And you just see him just like go through it, like just like perfect director, just like dealing with the problem, saying it's fine, moving
Yeah.
on, not worrying about it, just going on. Like I said, like 1,000 things happen in this movie, which to some people might make it unrealistic. But I just loved it so much that it was just crazy and wild. And I love that it was apparently shot on 16 millimeter. So the
Mm.
film look, I didn't. Sometimes when they shoot on like they have that film look, I don't know if it's like digital and then after they make it look film. But it's nice that they went to the effort of making it look like more gritty and using the film. And obviously you got Willem Dafoe in it, who's always
Oh
great
yeah.
and whatever he does. And you got J.K. Simmons, who's kind of like a dirtbag
Yeah.
and behind the scenes. Just such a great fun time. Like I just loved the whole setup of just behind the scenes chaos, and it was just such a good time. And I know you mentioned someone that was a Galaxy film that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
auditioned
yeah,
for a
yeah.
role.
We yeah. There's somebody that yeah. No, it's very cool, very exciting to have that kind of more in-house thing
Hmm.
there. So yeah, definitely a very much like kind of a special one for especially Galaxy Film. But yeah, check it out. Saturday night, I should say. Very good movie. I think it's like the newest release that we're talking about here today. Um, and yeah, I think if again, like I just wish it like performed a little better because then I could see it really kind of going to the
Yeah,
Oscars and stuff like that. I do think this could be a Golden Globe best comedy, like we were saying.
yeah.
Like I think
Hmm.
that could probably perhaps a best SAG ensemble. Like I think the ensemble
Yeah, that
here
was
is
like
incredible. Like everybody's
yeah.
so good, and it's
Hmm.
I think it's that kind of movie where it's like yeah, like it's not going to be a best picture nominee potentially.
No.
However, this cast is stacked and we should really recognize that, and I think
Hmm.
like SAG awards potentially that could be something there, but we'll see. I do think it's that kind of stacked cast. I don't know, I could see a world where maybe this gets like nominated and everybody gets mad, like I could see that happening because I know everybody was like it was not even that good, but it's like no, it was fun, and that's what we need to have
Yeah,
more fun.
that's all I was looking for. And it was just
Yeah,
so much it's so much entertainment and fun in this
yeah,
movie. Like how could you be upset with
I
being
know.
entertained?
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of entertain and fun, let's talk about Megalopolis.
I knew exactly where you
Oh
were
yeah,
going
you
with
knew where I
that.
was going. Oh my God. So this was one that I was kind of like, all right, starting the awards race with Megalopolis. Holy shit, is that not happening? Good lord, dude, what the fuck? And like, it's crazy to me because it's like it's Francis Ford Coppola. He's
Hmm.
he's he's this is his life's mission. This movie,
Hmm.
and you and I went into this, and it is just not good.
I I wasn't expecting just for it to be just so jarring and
Yeah,
not controversial and like oh there's things in the movie that people
that are
find divisive
risque. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or risque, yeah. More just so like I don't know what to go in or what I'm expecting, but it's gonna just be like ridiculous and wild.
Yeah. No way. It was terrible. It's crazy to me. And it's like there's so many talented people in this, and it's like
I don't know what he
miss the
did
mark.
to talk these people into taking these roles.
Yeah.
I know I've heard like behind the scene things of like
Hmm.
some malice things with him and people. It
Yeah.
was just so bad. It was the most jarring like thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Cuz it wasn't like cuz again like we discussed right after we saw it a little bit like you had mentioned where you thought, "Oh, this went through like a bunch of rewrites."
It seemed like it. It
And it
seemed
makes
like throughout the
sense.
ye's like he's been
Yeah.
writing this since the fucking 80s. So it's like
Mhm.
obviously at a certain point like it was about to go in production like right before like 9/11, so it's like
Mhm.
they postponed it,
Yeah.
of course they would, makes sense, but then they didn't pick it up again until like 2 years ago or whatever they whenever they filmed this. And
Mhm.
then yeah, like to hear all this stuff at the festivals about like oh, like they had a guy come down and talk to the screen. It's like this is not a marketable movie. Like this is not something, and granted, you and I are very excited to see like, oh, what the fuck does that look like?
Yeah,
Some dude talking
exactly.
to the screen. I want to see that.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like you think about that when they premiere that at the festival, and it's like, on the night, it's like probably magic, and it's like, oh wow, like this guy talked to Adam Driver, and it's amazing and whatever. But then
Hmm.
when you come away from that, like the glitz and glamour of that night, and the applause and the fucking whatever the 17-minute standing ovation, whatever bullshit at the
Did it
at
actually get
Venice.
any standing
Not
ovation?
17 minutes, but like you know
It
how
got some.
yeah, they all do. Dude,
Oh,
it's part of the culture of these film
I guess
festivals.
so. Yeah.
Like we'll
I'm
talk.
just surprised for this movie.
Yeah, I know it's weird to me. It's like especially like I mean they're like, oh, Francis Ford Coppola. All right, there's 3 minutes of
Yeah,
clapping. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
that's fair. Yeah.
Like that's like it's like okay, a legend, and then it's like all right, and then let's pan Adam Driver, let's pan and then they just keep going. So it's
Yeah.
like they do
Fair enough.
that,
Yeah.
and then it's like they look Joker 2, which I'm going to talk about in a second because it is a glaring omission that we've not talked about Joker 2 yet because Joker,
Hmm.
the first one, was an awards darling. Like that
Yeah.
movie was nominated for Best Picture. Fucking Joaquin won Best Actor last
Hmm.
time. It won Best Score. I think Todd Phillips might have been nominated for Best Director, if I'm not mistaken, which is huge. Like that's a big
Hmm.
deal. And then the sequel comes out, and it just totally misses the mark in
Yeah.
every possible way. I'll get into it in a second, but he was nominated for Best Director. That is crazy. Um,
Jeez.
but yeah, anyway, Megalopolis, uh, a tremendous flop. And that's kind of what this and Joker have in common is that they both showed. I think going into this year, they both showed the most promise at the Academy Awards or at the awards race in general. And coming away from it, you're just kind of like, wow, we were so wrong. Like there is no way in hell either of these films receive any sort of critical flowers. Like there's no way that either of these two movies go the distance
Hmm.
this awards race. And that is kind of in Joker 2's case, shocking. In Megalopolis's case, like I'm happy that it won't because it's like why did you do this? Like
Yeah. I mean, especially with the promotion of now, I learned like fake reviews for all his
I
past
know.
movies. Like, if you're going in being like, look, all the past movies also got bad reviews. Don't worry. It's like, oh, you're
Yeah.
going in with that sort of
This is this
attitude,
is
and
this is
obviously
your
it came out.
marketing strategy?
Yeah, and then of
That's
course it came out
insane.
like you told me that it was fake.
Yeah, it's all AI
Um,
generated, and it was bullshit. And some of them, yeah, one of the reviews was like from Batman 1989, and it's like that. Francis Ford Coppola did not direct that movie. What is this? Like
uh,
this is garbage.
it was so bad, but like I really do think a lot of people should go see it,
I think it's
just to like
definitely something to experience.
yeah, it's definitely like an experience that you should get on IMAX. Like it's definitely worth seeing once on the big screen, but just knowing like this is gonna be such a not good movie. But I
I
think people
like.
need that
I think
to
so too.
know like that this is what bad movies look like, where it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like complete like just storylines that come and go without any reason or rhyme, like just horrible like each scene is almost a completely different tone.
yeah.
You have parts of the movie that are supposed to be like they're supposed to feel like grand and monumentous to the whole story, and then it just like doesn't matter at all at the end. Like
Hmm.
there's the one thing I'm thinking of is like the 40-minute feels like 40-minute Coliseum sort of like new Rome thing.
Yeah, with the young girl.
It was like this grand, yeah, it's like this grand performance of like, oh look, it's like Rome but modern day, and it's like, oh, there's this girl that they're like donating money for her like
Super
virginity,
fucking
and then
weird.
it comes out like Shia LaBeouf's in it and he's great at it because
He's
it kind of fits exactly what he's like. But it's like, oh, he put in like a fake sex tape of her, and everyone gets mad, and it's
yeah.
like we just literally wasted 40 minutes because that never gets brought up again. It's not important. It
Well,
literally
no,
just
it's because because then he loses his powers. Oh,
which
spoilers.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
he,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. His powers that don't get brought up, they don't make any sense, and they don't mean anything to the plot at all,
yeah,
basically.
he loses his powers there, and then they go on the scaffolding, and then the girl says, "You can do it," and he says, "Okay," and then he does it.
Yeah, it comes right back because he goes to jail for like literally 10 minutes in the
Yeah,
movie,
and then he
and then
falls
what
in. They
Jake
fall
said,
in love.
yep.
And
What I
shot in the fucking face. That was good too. You remember that part when he got shot in the face?
he
And then
gets
the next
so
scene, he gets bandaged, and then they play like that weird fucking.
yep.
Do you remember that? This
Yeah,
movie's a
I
fever
remember.
dream. This movie's a fever dream,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
literally
incredible.
is. It's yeah, it's so bad, but that's why I agree with Jake that it was rewrites galore because you have
Yeah.
these sort of themes and plots in the movie where it's like, oh, there's this building material that's like Adam Driver's ex-wife's body, maybe, and then that just gets like
something.
dropped,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, he has this grand vision for a new like city, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you could see that maybe in the first draft, like that was like the big point, and having the building construction materials be from like his dead wife's body, which doesn't make any sense. I could see that being like the big point, but then that just doesn't matter or really mean anything for the whole rest of
No,
the movie.
not at all.
Um, it's just so bad, but again, it's worth seeing. I love the main sort of poster for it because I remember that scene, but I don't know what he's holding.
Oh, the Minecraft axe?
I don't know,
I don't know.
that just shows you how bad this is, that the main poster, like I can't even recall like what the like I don't know what that was. I remember in the movie, but I just remember this kind of happening and then it just went away and then again
Yeah.
never got brought up again.
You go back to the club.
Yeah, the
The,
best line
the
if anything
best.
should win an award, that line delivery.
This movie. I'm telling you, this was the I have not been more bored in a movie all year. However, sitting with you in that IMAX theater, we were dying at some points, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is worth it for me. Like this is some of these moments are so worth it for me because it's like we're just dying, and then and like I said, like you just mentioned, there is such thing as too many drafts, and I think that's the case of Megalopolis because the 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 bone marrow, the basic frame of this movie, there's something there.
There
I
is.
do
There
think
really
that there's
is.
something there. Like I
There
do
is.
think
Yeah.
so. There's something very cool about like this fucking prophet who's like, you know what? If we, it's kind of like Paul Atreides a little bit, but like it's
Yeah, a little bit,
like
yeah.
it very little bit. He's like, you know what? Hey, if we can't, if we're destined to fall off a cliff,
Mhm.
let's just fucking not do that. Let's just change that and make a
Mhm.
utopia. And it's like,
There's
cool.
themes of like with this change comes sacrifice of like
Yes.
people living in the society that it is before the change. Like there's a scene where they're like destroying apartment buildings and it's like, well, we need this for this megalopolis, which is the name of the city.
Yeah.
And there's like there is bone to the original story, but
Yeah.
it's just not, it just is so bad and so many different changes that things got swapped out and
It's
things
just
became unimportant and it became an absolute mess for Francis Ford Coppola.
it's
I
just
saw
it's a
I saw like a
weird thing.
I saw like a 5-star review
Yeah.
about it, and this guy, I was like, "Well, what's this about?" And it was a very long review, but basically the
What?
guy was like, um, it wasn't like a joke review. He was like, "Ever since I got like I learned that I became a kid, like this whole movie changed my entire like dynamic of looking at it." Where he's like, Francis Ford Coppola writes on like legacy and how like can you kind of replicate what you did in the past? Obviously, he did Godfather 1 and 2, Apocalypse
Yeah.
Now, the conversation, and it's just like it's themes of that and themes of like doing what you need for your children and stuff like that. But I like that even in all that, he's like, "Oh, this movie's terrible. It is very bad." But like
However,
having a kid now like makes me see this in a whole different light, and I'm like,
hmm,
I appreciate that, and it just made me like, I don't know, it made me feel like, okay, this is nice that even though for him it like personally meant something, which is great because that's what movies should be doing.
right.
But for the recognition of this is a terrible movie still,
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
just it's
It's
just
like
is proof.
it's
Yeah.
just poorly made, and it's
Mhm.
like you said, they abandon things and then they never come back to it.
Mhm.
I think the performances are fine. I do think it's like you said with A Different Man. I think this one felt very playish as well because it's like
I mean, yeah, especially because Francis Ford Coppola, like multiple times throughout, it's like this is a modern epic,
yeah,
like Rome times,
exactly. Yeah, what does he call it? Doesn't he say it's a fable? It's a
a
fable.
fable. Yeah, 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 a
So
fable.
it's
Yep.
like that's the fucking tagline in the movie. It's Megalopolis, a fable, and it's like okay,
And
great.
it was just such a garbage
It just felt
nightmare. Yeah.
like everybody like the way first of all, and then they said like some of them were improvising. I can see that, and it's
Hmm.
like, but it's like, what are you talking about? Like I don't even know what you're saying. And then it's like
Yeah.
there's
Well, that's why
parts
he
of it.
wanted
It's just
Amazon to build an AI to
right,
talk to the.
right, exactly. That was
Which again, like that sounds so out there and wild, and if it could have worked, it would
would
have
have been
been like
interesting.
incredible. It would have been not, maybe not incredible, but really interesting to be
Yeah.
like, oh, let me ask a question because it's literally like a scene in The Simpsons where it's like,
Hmm.
oh, press a buzzer for like to ask a question or something, and it's
Yeah.
like something like that is so innovative,
Innovative,
or whatever.
innovative. Yep.
Innovative, yeah.
There you go.
Innovative and like again, like we've said multiple times, like there is something to this story in the
Yeah,
beginning that would have been so revolutionary and like such an it would have been a fable where it's like you
yeah.
can literally ask questions and get responses mid movie, but it's just they didn't do that obviously, and
No,
it's just
of
like a
course.
nightmare of just like I don't know what's going on. I don't really care. Everything's all over the place. And it just ends, and the ending is supposed to be built up as like this big epic thing, but it's just like he's just spewing like nonsense basically.
I
And I
know.
just like completely toned out. I was just like, "Ah, thank God this is over.
I know.
I'm
It was a brutal watch for
I
me.
because you checked your phone mid movie and you went, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, did something happen? And then you're like, no, it was just an hour into the
I said
movie.
we're only an hour in. We have another hour and 20 minutes of this fucking movie. Like it was hard to get through this for me. I was just like, and you know, there like these other movies, not Megalopolis, The Substance, Different Man, Saturday Night. I'm not checking my phone. I
Oh
love
no,
those movies, and I'm just like, I
yeah,
want to be in. I would have watched 3 hours of all three of those movies,
mm-hmm.
and here we are with fucking Megalopolis. I'm like, it it's shorter. It's 3 minutes shorter than The Substance, which is insane. And
What it is?
yes, The
Oh
Substance
my
is like
god.
221 and this is 218. And it feels
Oh,
like an hour longer than The Substance in my opinion. And it's
wow. I did
crazy.
not know that.
Yes, The Substance is long, but
Jeez.
like it again,
No, no, this just shows
this
how,
feels this
yeah.
feels its length in every like just
Wow.
tough
I did
way.
not know that.
Yeah. But
I mean,
yeah,
the substance by the end did kind of
it felt
drag
long. Yes, it did.
with what I said, where it went like full body horror. But
Yeah.
it was like, okay, you were kind of going there. This, I did not know it was that short in comparison to the substance.
I know. I
Oh
know.
my
It's
god.
wild, dude. It feels like 3 hours. This movie. 3 hours.
But again, I'm so glad I saw it because it's
Me
like
too.
literally like once in a lifetime. Just like you don't get movies like this often, where
No,
it's like it's
and
such
you
a
know,
spectacle.
if we didn't watch this in theaters, we would have started this and
Nope.
never finished it. There's no
Yep.
fucking way.
Absolutely.
If I
Yep.
turned
No.
this on at home, I would have watched 10 minutes
Nope.
of this and been like, "This is awful. I'm turning this off,"
Yep.
because it is hard to watch
Yeah.
this.
It is hard. I was
It's
expecting the
difficult.
whole time like some scene, and I was very naive to think this, as some scene was gonna pull everything together
I nope.
and make it in some way, just make it make sense. However generic that scene
Yeah.
might have been, I was just waiting for something, and it just
The
ends.
like I said it when we were walking to our cars. The last scene in the movie when he like has his big speech about fucking
Hmm.
Megalopolis and how it's
Hmm.
here we are. We need to have
Yeah.
a conversation about the future. He's doing all that, and I'm like, oh my god, I see it. And then like
Yeah.
credits. I'm like, wait, and I'm like, you finally figured it out. But the movie's not about that. And
No, it's not.
I
That's the
can't remember
problem.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like this. You introduce something that was so interesting, and it's like that is your thesis statement for this film.
Hmm.
Except you said it at the end of the movie. That doesn't make any sense. And it's like, what are you doing? Like it
Yeah.
was an interesting, like a great speech, a fantastic like final scene, and then
Hmm.
it just fucking it's like, and there we go. And it's like, well, no, you just introduced what this movie's about, and
He had he
there's a minute left. That's
he
crazy.
with he just had way too many ideas going at once.
Yeah.
He need there could have been like 3 or 4 main points, and he just kept going on like, well, have this happen now, and then this happen now.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
Adam Driver, you need a better agent. You really need a better agent because ever
He
since Star Wars, you've been just fucking not doing it, dude. I feel
he looked
bad.
like he had such a fun time though
Oh, I
doing
know,
this
and
film.
I appreciate that. That's all I ever want to do is
I
have
know,
fun.
yeah.
I would make this and have a fucking blast. But
Oh yeah.
dude, like you're destroying your image. Like I really feel bad because it's
Ugh,
like he keeps
I
doing
know.
shit like this and he's not going to be like he's got to be
I know,
careful.
and he's such a good actor too.
He's fantastic.
He is like a like there is a difference between like an actor that's famous and successful and like a good actor. Like I've said to you before, I said like, oh, Chris Evans isn't really like a real actor,
I know.
and I might get flack for that, but it's like he hasn't really done any like character piece movies. He's only been in like the Avengers, or he's like, I mean, he was in Scott Pilgrim, and I think
Yeah.
he fits perfect for that role.
He needs to pick better projects. I think like as
Like
Captain
so,
America,
like
he's great. But
yeah, but like we said, like Louis Sebastian Stan, like he's a real
Yes.
actor. He's doing real movies. Like he's
Yeah.
playing Trump in The Apprentice, although we didn't talk about that. You said it was okay. Like he's
Yeah, it was
playing,
fine.
he's doing a character piece for that. He's playing like doing the different man. Like he's doing real roles that are like actual significance and trying to say something.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is doing the red one this Christmas.
Oh, let's
So
talk
I
about
mean,
that. What do you think? Oscars for that one?
oh
Fucking hell.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Definitely, yeah. Fuck no.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, you know that's gonna be a good picture.
No, definitely not. It looks. I every time that trailer comes on, I want to hurt myself. I get really upset.
But like he's like Adam Driver's a good actor, and it's just
Yes.
he's and obviously his last very good movie was Marriage Story, where he
Yes.
shows off these chops, where he's just like an incredible actor, and he has this rich story about he was how he's in the Marines, and then he went to Juilliard and was
Yeah.
able to promote acting to other people that were in service,
Hmm.
and then he goes and does this,
Yeah.
and it's just like
But he's really like I always go see him. Like he's great in Last Duel. I
mhm,
liked it. I House of Gucci is kind of a mess, but I
mhm.
liked it and I liked him in it. And I
Yeah.
liked like Ferrari is a goddamn slog, but
Mm,
he's good in it and I liked
yeah.
him. And I kind of ended up liking that movie a little bit. Like I was like, oh, this is like brutal. Another brutal watch. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's just boring. And then like there was another one, Last Duel, great in that. And it's like you're always a good standout, but nobody's going to see these. And by the end of it, you're just like, okay, I'm ready to go home now because it's like it's so long and it's so boring. I don't
Yeah.
know. We spent way too much fucking time on
I know,
Megalopolis,
but we needed
but
to.
I know
We
we did.
needed
We
to.
did. We need to get this off of our
Because
chest.
Megalopolis was so bad. It really was so
And
bad.
it's kind of interesting to kind of, again, the point of awards bait is not to, let's sit around and predict the 10 nominees for best picture. I
No.
also want to talk about movies like this where it's like
Yeah.
it's packaged in such a way where it's like Francis Ford Coppola, Adam Driver,
This should be a winner of
Giancarlo
some
Esposito.
award
It
at the
looks like
Oscars.
a prestigious film. I
Hmm.
also want to look at these case studies where it's like, okay, Megalopolis and Joker 2, what the fuck happened? That's what I want to do with this show as well because it's like, it's fun to talk about like very good films and it's
Hmm.
the substance. That's not going to be a nominated film, but it's something that we on Awards Bait want to put on your radar if you're listening.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, it's just one and a different man, very small
Hmm.
independent film. Check it out, seek it out if it's playing near you,
Yeah.
because they're all good. And Megalopolis, here's why you should steer clear of it because it's not good, and also it's why is it not going to get nominated now? That's part of the fun for me with this show.
Yeah.
Um, I now want to talk about Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me spit some facts at you about
Hmm.
Joker Fully Ado, which
Hmm.
why did they call it that? You ever every time there's a movie that you kind of have a hard time pronouncing the title, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
So,
No.
Joker 2, sequel to 2019 Joker, Todd Phillips coming back to direct this film. So let me tell you something. So the first Joker was made $1 billion. It was the biggest R-rated film of all
I'll just
time
say, yeah.
until this summer.
Probably Wolverine.
Yeah,
Or
Deadpool and
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
So like it for 5 years, this was the biggest, the only R-rated film to ever make $1 billion up until Deadpool and Wolverine. Uh, the only film to ever do that. It won Best Actor for Joaquin Phoenix.
Hmm.
Todd Phillips nominated, Best Score win, Best Picture nominee, and just a very like look. Joker, the first Joker's not perfect by any means. I like it. It's good. I think I liked it a lot more when I first saw it, but now coming away from it, it's like okay, that was fine.
Yeah.
Um, Joker 2, I was excited to see this. It
I was
made
looking forward to it too.
Yeah, it made 40 million on its opening
Oh.
weekend. The first one made 96. This is a
Oh.
steep decline. And we just had, let me tell you this, because I like the box office a lot. You'll learn about that on the show. To put this in perspective for you, Ronnie, Joker is in weekend number 2 right now. This movie's been out for 2 weeks.
It feels like it's already going to be out
I
in
know.
theaters next week.
Oh, listen to this. This is dire. You want to know what made more than Joker 2 this weekend?
Didn't you say
Terrifier 3 is number 1. And
oh my god.
that movie cost $2 million to make. So they already made their money back and like times
Yeah.
almost times
Yeah.
10. So that's an incredible win. The Wild Robot, which has been out for 3 weeks, is number
Yeah.
2. And number 3 with 6 weeks, Beetlejuice 2.
And I contribute to that because
Yes,
I
you
saw
saw it
this
this past
last
weekend,
week.
right?
Yeah.
Joker dropped 81% in its second weekend
Oh.
with $7 million, pretty much $7 million flat. It went from
Wow.
40 million to 7 million in weekend number 2.
And if it even hits 3, it's gonna be like a million.
I know, and this is the worst second weekend drop um, for any comic book movie ever. I think it's one of the worst drops, period. But I
Yeah.
think there's like some shitty like straight to DVD looking movie that dropped like
Yeah. Yeah.
90% or something.
Hmm.
This movie is look, Galaxy Film, they did an episode on Joker 2. It seems like a lot of the people on the episode, we had Will on there, Will was on there. A lot of people seem to kind of like it. Look, I don't hate this movie, but you gotta call it what it is. This movie is a fucking disaster. So I saw it with my father 2 weeks ago, and we went into it with open hearts. We're ready to enjoy it, and for the most part, I think it's fine. It's fine. But to see such a fall off like this is just one for the books. This is insane. Like this movie we went from all kinds of wins with the first movie, big box office success, big critical success, big Oscar success, just an all around, just no holds barred, just a big fucking hit. Like everybody loved it, did so well. This one, it's the complete opposite. I cannot see, and I joked about it in my intro video for this season of Awards Bait. I think Joaquin kind of destroyed his whole image just this last couple months. Like,
Yeah.
really, it's not good. He dropped out of
Yeah.
that movie last minute. A lot of shit's been coming out about him dropping out of movies last minute, but fortunately, everybody's been kind of able to save his ass. Like, did you read about he dropped out of Split like a week before?
Really?
He was supposed to be in Split, and then James McAvoy stepped up.
Jesus.
So he
Wow.
like
I don't know
dropped
about
it.
that.
So he keeps doing this, and it's like it's
So
finally catching up to you.
you wonder if Bo was afraid if he was like about to step out.
Who knows, dude?
Yeah.
I think because I think on the smaller things he's less like because the buck stops with him on the smaller one. So like when
Yeah.
he drops out of a one, you don't really hear about it because it's like I will fucking squash you. It's like
Yeah.
it's like whatever. Like I made Joker. I'm huge. Um, so for him to sound, it means he really connects with the source material. I would imagine.
Hmm.
So like, I was afraid. He probably really liked that. Come on, come on. Probably really liked that. It's like the
Hmm.
smaller things he tends to stick around. Um, but him dropping out of the gay romance one is a terrible look for him, and
I
also
know. Yeah.
especially when you're bringing that to the producer's attention. Like that's insane. Like you wanted to make this movie and you dropped out. Like that's
And
crazy.
then yeah, that's
And then
bad.
just was like, actually, I don't want to do this.
Forget it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
never mind.
Let's
It
just.
seems like I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to actually do like
Stuff.
stuff with guys in this, and I don't want to do that. And it's like that's fucking crazy. Like, what did you knew
You
what
went
you were
in.
signing on
Yeah.
for? You read the
Yeah.
script.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
You brought it to us.
Yeah, and you almost dropped out of Napoleon a number of times. I've been reading.
Jeez. Well, that one. You know.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But like, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But Joker too. Wow, like, it almost makes you wonder, like, why was there no oversight on this at all? Like, I get it, Todd Phillips should have kind of carte blanche with this one. He has the $200 million budget. That's another thing. This movie's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's bad. So
it's just interesting because you hear before, obviously, all the leaks came out that it's gonna be like a musical. So it's like,
yeah,
this might be like really interesting or like a gimmick. But
yep,
it's like, okay, well, it's Todd Phillips. He made Joker 1. Obviously, looking back, Joker 1 is less widely renowned than it was
yeah,
originally when it was
now,
first
yeah,
seen. So okay, maybe there's some here where you have Harley Quinn, like it's gonna be like an interesting musical, like love thing. And then from what you told me, because I didn't see it, based on the reviews and what you said, it was kind of just like, all right, this is what happened in the first one, and then
Literally
that's
that.
like all that happened.
It was
And
disappointing.
yeah,
And it's like you could have made a worthwhile sequel. There could have been, look, like there is a version where this movie is super safe, super, conventional. And I
hmm
kind of appreciate that they went such a weird direction with this because it's like it doesn't make sense why it's a musical. It's never explained. It
yeah,
doesn't further the plot at all.
hmm
They break out into song for no reason, and
yeah,
it's just it doesn't make sense and it's dumb. But I like the choice because like on paper it's like, oh, you have Lady Gaga, like obviously you want her to sing.
yeah,
um like I mean, and she's also just a good actress. Like you could have hired
yeah,
her and not had her sing. I think she still would have fit
yeah.
the part and did a good job. But like I feel bad for her. Like it's like she did fucking Star is Born, and that's an incredible movie, and then she did House of Gucci, and like she's great in that along with Adam Driver. But like the whole thing just kind of falls apart around them. Like it's like they're
hmm
both good, but they both were done wrong. And then in this one, it's like her being done wrong on the biggest possible stage. It's like this huge movie, all eyes are on you, and it's another miss for you. And it's like it must suck to be like, no, I missed out again. And it's like, yeah, like before we went into this, it was like, oh, supporting actress. Like here we go. She's going to be nominated for supporting actress because the first one was such a huge hit with the Oscars. And this one, it's like I don't see a reality where they nominate this for anything.
hmm
It may be score again because like I said, like it's not bad. Like it's technically still got all of the things that worked about the first one. So it's like if it was nominated and won some of these things last time, there's a plausibility where it's like, okay, maybe the score, because it's more of the same, will be nominated again because it's just so fantastic. Or
Did
maybe
it
because
feel? Did it feel like lifeless?
it
Not
felt,
lifeless, but like mundane, where it's like, okay, we're just making this thing.
yeah,
Because
kind
it
of.
almost comes off like he made the first one, really liked it, and then the studio's like, we need to make another one, and he's really like, I don't know, and they're like, what if we do it like whatever way you want? And he's like, I guess I could try a musical, or that was forced on him,
I
and
think
then he
I
does
think
it.
that was all him.
You think that was all him?
I think it was all him. I think the
Maybe that
studio
was
said,
his way for him to be like, all right, this can be like a project I work on
yeah,
to try to make it work, and he probably didn't care that much about it
no,
because it's great publicity when like as soon as the movie comes out, he's like, I'm done with the DC
yeah,
universe.
it's
That was my
yeah,
last,
like
that was two movies is enough. Like that you always love to hear that from your
I know,
directors making
right?
your movies. Like if
Literally.
someone's really passionate about something, they go, two's enough. I'm done.
Yep.
But
It's like, and it's like, everybody's like, oh, hey, like, would you make a Harley movie now? And then he's like, no. And
no.
it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
I liken this to the end of Game of Thrones. That's what this reminds me of, where it's like, you know, like I said, like the end of Game of Thrones. Everything that works about the show is still there. Like the performances are still good. The cinematography, all of the technical aspects, the CGI, the dragons, all that shit, it's still great. And same thing with Joker. Everything still looks fantastic. All of the even better because you have the song and dance numbers. The
hmm
cinematography is incredible. Like everything, and I get chills every time. That shot where she draws the lipstick on the fucking when
hmm
she's talking to him on the phone in the
Yeah.
jail thing, and then he like lines up with it and smiles. It's it's one of my favorite moments from any movie this year. Just
Yeah.
period. And
hmm
like I lean because I'm such a loser. I look over at my father like while we're watching this. I'm like, can you imagine? Like I'm like a fucking like I'm like, oh my god, this is the best shot I've ever seen. I'm like, do you know how long that fucking probably took
Forget. Yeah.
like just to get that lined up? Like I get geeked out thinking about that stuff. So it's like that's incredible. And then like that moment, I'm like, God, if the whole movie was like that, I would have loved this. And if it's like, if it
hmm
just had that energy throughout the whole thing, like this tragic kind of love story, I don't know. But again, like it's all good, like everything looks good. But where Game of Thrones failed and where this fails is the script, where it's like, it's just poorly written. It's like they didn't have any fleshed out ideas. Everything sort of happens. And it's like, yeah, like let's just focus so much on the first movie the whole time. and then like it's a deconstruction of him, and it makes you feel bad for even rooting for him in the first one. And you're not it's a weird thing with Joker because it's like you're not rooting for him to do this shit, but you get it, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, if that was me, I probably, if everybody kind of wronged me in such a way like this, it's like I can see why this happened. I wouldn't murder people, but I'm not admitting that on a podcast, but I can understand and I sympathize with this, sad creature. Like that's how I
Mhm.
felt. And this one, it's like, no, he's just a fucking loser, and he's weird, and nobody should like him. And it's like, well, no, that's not what made the first one popular and successful.
Yeah.
So that's Joker 2. I mean, it's not even bad. That's the weird. It's like it's not. It'd be easy if this was like Megalopolis, where it's like it's
Yeah.
fucking just a mess and it
Yeah.
sucks
Yeah.
and they drop plot points and all this shit. It's like no, the movie's just about nothing and it doesn't do anything and it doesn't go
Hmm.
anywhere. But everything
Yeah.
looks good and it's all on display. It's just upsetting. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we've got for this episode. Just a couple of reviews and just a little settling back in for the awards bait season. Um, yeah, I mean, we definitely have like a lot of films coming out, films that are going to be on our radar. Definitely looking forward to Anora and a lot of these kind of indie films that are going to be expanding in the coming weeks. Um, look forward to a lot more with that because we're only just getting started. Like a lot of these, like I said, these 4 movies that we just talked about, 5 if you count Joker, they're all movies that we don't think are going to get nominated. So imagine how much we're going to have, that is going to
Yeah.
get nominated. So
Hmm.
we're really we've got an exciting season ahead of us, and I'm definitely looking forward to going on this journey. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's Ronnie. Any closing remarks? Any closing? Anything that you'd like to add on to anything you're looking forward to, or anything like
I
that?
I just hope we can see Sing Sing because good
At some
God,
point, yeah.
I'm getting nervous that it's gonna be like, oh, it just comes and goes completely in theater, not in theaters, and then it just gets like nominated for something.
Do you think
It's
they're
like,
gonna? Do you think they're gonna Iron Claw this?
oh, I hope not.
I think that's where we're headed. I think it's like gonna be like, oh fuck, and then they release it like Christmas Day, and then they're like shit, and then it misses every voting window.
That'd be A24 too,
That would
to
be a
do that.
24 again,
Because again, Iron Claw was really good. I
and
really
it would have
liked it.
been nominated for things.
I gave it 5 stars when I saw it the second time,
It's a good
and
movie.
I'm just like, I love to see Sing Sing. I could see it being like a Christmas time movie where it's like
Yeah,
kind of like this sad family movie that like brings everyone together. But I hope it's not like, all right, 1 week, we're
I know.
done.
I
It
think it's
made.
gonna. I think it's gonna quietly go wide after Thanksgiving. I
That'd be
think so.
nice. I would
That
love.
would be
I would
nice.
love
I
to.
I
I
think
just
like
want to see it. That's my
yeah,
main point. I just want to see Sing Sing. I've been hearing about it since like literally May, probably.
yeah.
And I'm just like, I'd love to see it sometime. I don't know why you make a product that
I
I
know.
want to buy and I can't buy it. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, looking forward to Sing Sing. Anora, I'm looking forward to. Um, maybe we'll get something that surprises us that
yeah.
was under our radar.
The Brutalist. I really think that's gonna be something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's complete. And again, I completely forgot about that because I sent it to you a long, like probably a month or two ago at this point,
Yeah.
and it just sounds like it's gonna be this epic movie. But I'm just nervous, like with Sing Sing, that I'm just never gonna see it in theaters.
Yeah, I hope that's not one of those ones that like goes wide in January and it's like, oh well, fuck me. I just missed
Yeah.
missed it for the year. But yeah, guys, this is super exciting. We're back with Awards Bait season 2. We're just getting started. Every other Tuesday, you can find us. Um, Probably some more guest stars joining us as well. It's gonna be very exciting. It's gonna be very fun. So guys, a little couple of things I want to plug here. Our new short film release is out. That is the Mayhem Pictures division over in Connecticut making that happen. We've also got another one that just wrapped, and we're pretty much totally done with it, and it's Getting Real with Zippy. First time I'm talking about that on any sort of platform. Nobody knows
Yeah.
about Getting Real with Zippy just yet, but I'm happy with how that one turned out. I think it's very good. I think you guys will like it. You can look forward to that coming out. I would imagine before the end of the month. We've also got Pretty Hurts, another film that is going to be releasing pretty soon. I believe that's something that's also going to be hitting YouTube in the coming weeks. But don't take it from me. That will be announced at a later date. But yeah, guys, join the Facebook group, like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff. We're back at it. Let us know if there's any award films that we should be talking about that aren't even on our radars yet. It's possible. I know a lot of the film festivals are happening as we speak, so definitely some big contenders potentially coming out in the coming weeks. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much. Out all of our coverage on the YouTube channel, Galaxy of Film Productions. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. I think we could do it. We're almost there. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you later. And yeah, bye bye.